Live from Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, Fox Sports Ohio presents Interleague Baseball from Cincinnati, Ohio. The Toronto Blue Jays come to the Queen City to take on the Cincinnati Reds. Hi, hello, and welcome to the Queen City, everyone. Yep, it is Spirit Hair Day. The Cowboys got it. We've got it. Welcome to baseball, interleague style, as the Reds got to do something to get off the schneid against these American League teams.
Well, they do, George, and it all starts with pitching. And this club has been pitching very well over the last 9-10 ball games. The starters have done awfully well. And I really believe, George, that if the starting continues the pitching the way they have right now, the hitting will come along.
You take a look at the numbers and add them up. Starting pitching again was good last night. Mike Leake pitched well. For Edinson Volquez, he's been a different pitcher since coming back.
Well, I think anytime that you have an adjustment in where you are, you get sent down, it's a wake-up call. And I think it has been for Edinson Volquez. This happened to him quite a few years ago when he was in the Texas Ranger organization. And I don't know that it's so much just about attitude as it is about taking the ball and attacking hitters. Early in the season, he was really not doing that. The ball was up, as you could see in those pictures there. Lately, over the last couple of starts, he has gotten the ball down. He's throwing the ball awfully well. You can see the tenacity in his eyes. Watch this pitch here. Good night, Irene. That's where he makes his money. The changeup down in the strike zone. Volquez has been really dominant. He's got a win, 13 innings, 10 strikeouts over his last 2 starts. I expect even better tonight, George.
Irene, there it is, the message. Volquez will be better. The Cowboys says so. Coming up next, Canada's Athlete of the Year will be honored here at Great American Ballpark. Joey Votto receives a big trophy after last year's MVP award. Great American Ballpark. The Reds and the Blue Jays, game 2 of the 3-game set. The Reds so far 0-4 in interleague competition, and against the Jays in their history, they've won only 3 times and have lost 7 times in their matchups, trying to come up with a W on this day. And as you can see, some clouds are hovering over the Queen City. We've had a little bit of rain earlier today, but what does the rain story look like for tonight? Let's go to Aaron Seabury.
Hey Reds fans, looks like this evening you will need an umbrella or a poncho as you head out to the game. It will be warm though. Temperatures will start in the lower 80s, but we will see the chance for scattered showers and thunderstorms, and still a chance for some showers on and off throughout the game. Temperatures should end by the final out in the mid and upper 70s. Have a great one.
We sure will, Aaron. Thanks. Great job. And a great job for number 19 as well. Joey Votto coming out to receive what is one of the greatest honors in all of north of the borderland, the Cowboy. That is the Lou Marsh Award. It goes to the best amateur or professional athlete. Joey won it in 2010 for the country of Canada. It means a lot to him.
And, I would imagine so, going up against the likes of Wayne Gretzky, who has won it the most time, which would be 4 times, and really so many other different athletes. You win a country's most greatest athlete award. Oh, man.
Sidney Crosby, you got it. Hockey won it in 2007 and 2009. The great one won it 4 times. Some baseball players have won. Fergie won it back in the 70s, and Larry Walker won it in 98. Coming up, Joey Votto and company ready to take on the Blue Jays. Edinson Volquez toes the rubber when we return on Fox Sports Ohio. State Farm. State Farm agents are there when you need them. Find an agent or get a quote at statefarm.com. By your local Ford dealer. Ford Drive 1. By the Regional Tourism Network. Book your trip at CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Whenever you're feeling good and hungry, hey, it's Skyline time. Baseball time, interleague baseball time here at Great American Ballpark. This is series number 2. The Reds lost all 3 games to the Indians up in Cleveland. They lost the first game of this 3-game series and now are 3-7 in their career against the Blue Jays. Let's see what Edinson Volquez will have to face on this night. Yunel Escobar will lead it off for John Farrell and the Jays. Corey Patterson, the former Red who ignited the 3-run rally last night, is back in the outfield, who play left and bat second. Jose Bautista had 2 hits last night. Adam Lim bats in the cleanup spot. He had the big 2-run homer that was the difference in the game. Aaron Hill at second. Jose Molina, one of the 3 Molina brothers behind the plate. Rajai Davis, great speed in center field. Jason Nix, Lance Nick's younger brothers at third, and Brandon Morrow, the hard-throwing right-hander, will be on the mound and bat in the 9th position. On the mound for the Reds, the question, Cowboy, is which Edinson Volquez will show up tonight?
Well, if we're counting on the last 2 starts, it'll be an Edinson Volquez that, in my opinion, should mow right through this lineup, regardless of whether it's Bautista or Lynn. He is pitching now like the Reds' #1 starter, and that's the reason they started him on opening day.
That came after a stint down in the minor leagues with the Reds' outstanding coaching staff of Rick Sweet, the manager, Teddy Power, the pitching coach, and Smokey Garrett, the hitting coach. They got him straightened out, and Mario Soto got him straightened out on the mound and also with a haircut. He looks different without the locks, doesn't he?
Well, he does, and I think that's more from a mental side for Edinson Volquez to show the people around him that he means business. He's coming back to defy what everyone was talking about.
No balls and 2 strikes, and that's where he needs to be. The difference in Volquez from inning #1 to the rest of his tenure in each game is dramatic. In first inning earned run average, it is 15. After that, his earned run average is a very respectable 3.29. If he can get through that bugaboo, and it's been very difficult for him to do, and the exception of 2 starts, he's been touched in the first inning. But he gets it here. Strikeout #1, out #1 against Chanel Escobar. There's your 4 defensive alignment for the Cincinnati Reds. In the outfield, Chris Heisey will get the start. Great speed, good arm, outstanding defender. Drew Stubbs, Gold Glove caliber in center, and Gold Glove caliber Jay Bruce in right. Roland, you know about him, 8 Gold Gloves on his mantle. Giannis and Phillips, he came up with another brilliant play last night, the double play combo. Votto and then Ramon Hernandez behind the plate. That's your 4 defensive alignment.
My opinion, best defense in the game.
When they play to their potential, they do more things creatively than any other defense in the league. They've been, I think you'd agree, they've been a little subpar from where we thought they would be this year, but they have the potential to be that good in the second half.
Yes, they do.
The umpires last night, Cowboy, you and I marveled at the play that Brandon Phillips made. Corey Patterson pops this one up and out of play. Dan Iasonia was the second base umpire on the play that Phillips made behind second base. He said he just shook his head. We talked to him after the game. He said that may have been the greatest play I've ever seen a second baseman make. It was unbelievable.
Well, he caught the ball on the shortstop side of the bag and threw the ball to first base with his back to Joey Votto. He didn't pick up the first base bag until he released the baseball.
1 ball, 1 strike to Patterson. Bottom dropped out of that one, didn't it?
I tell you, George, the change in the appearance of Edinson Volquez, he appears to me to be a man on a mission since he came back from Louisville. It's a totally different attitude. Ball is down in the strike zone. He means business. That's business.
2 straight strikeouts. Here's another look at the second strikeout of the 2 batters he's faced.
Throws you a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and then you want to hit that? I don't think so. Change up, 10 miles an hour off, George. When you're throwing 95, you got to start the bat when he grunts. Well, he grunted right there, and it was 10 miles an hour short. Bugs Bunny.
2 away, and here comes Jose Bautista. Bautista had 2 hits last night, including a run-scoring double and a single. Great to see him and Joey Votto get together before the game. If you missed the interview that we had with him on Reds Live pregame, we'll have an even longer version of it coming up on Reds Live postgame. He and Votto have the utmost of respect for each other, Cowboy. That's one side of it, and you'll get into it today. But as good as they both are different at the plate.
They really are. And it's amazingly different the way that they're able to do what they do. Power numbers, and totally opposite the way they swing the bat.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Bautista has faced Votto 3 times. He's 1 for 3 against him. Escobar 2 for 8. Lind 0 for 2. And Molina 1 for 4. Those are the only batters in this Blue Jay roster that have faced Edinson Volquez.
Slowly but surely, Volquez is creeping back towards that #1 attitude.
Tricky hop, but Roland gobbles it up, mails it across the infield, and it's 1-2-3 for Edinson. Coming up, Drew Stubbs, who had it inside the Parker last night, will lead it off. This game raises $20,000 for prostate cancer research. So far, after 10 days, 47 homers have been hit, raising $940,000 for prostate cancer research. You can make a pledge by calling 800-798-CURE. That's 2873, 800-798-2873. Or go online to www.pcf.org. Hope you join us. We'll be talking about it today and tomorrow. It's a great cause, and you've supported it for so many years. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going from a Red standpoint. Drew Stubbs will lead it off. Phillips, Votto, Bruce, followed by Roland, Heisey in left. Ramon Hernandez, Paul Janisch, and Volquez, the pitcher, bats in the number 9 position. And on the mound for the Toronto Blue Jays, the tall, lanky right-hander, Brandon Morrow.
Morrow, split finger, fastball, slider. Has the ability to strike out a lot of batters if need be. When he's on, he can punch them out.
And that fastball very often will be a two-seamer. He'll get a lot of ground balls when he's right. Here's the defense. Great speed in the outfield. Corey Patterson in left. Davis is a burner in center. And Bautista outstanding in right. Jason Nix at third. Escobar at short. Aaron Hill at second. Adam Lind, who had the home run last night, at first. And Jose Molina, one of the 3 Molina brothers, behind the plate with Morrow on the mound. That's your 4 defensive alignment. Here's Brandon in at 280, 5 homers, 36 knocked in.
And even with all that speed that the Toronto Blue Jays have in the outfield, communication is the utmost importance. We saw in last night's ball game in the inside the park home run by Drew Stubbs, where Corey Patterson was playing center, ended up in a communication problem with Bautista, the right fielder. They ran together and the ball dropped for an inside the park home run.
Before the game, talking to Patterson and Bautista, Bautista admitted it was his fault. It was Patterson's ball. Corey was playing center last night, playing left today. And as good a defensive outfielder as Corey is, Cowboy, and you know him well, I do too as a person, he's not demonstrative. He'll never yell off a player. And you look at the replay and you can see he was calling. And Bautista admitted before the game that he was calling, but Bautista just kept coming and coming, and this was the result.
Well, this same issue happened many times here in this ballpark when Corey Patterson was a center fielder for the Reds. And you see what it ends up causing. It ends up costing the Toronto Blue Jays a run. Fortunately for them, they were able to come back and put some runs on the board.
And also from a Red standpoint, there were a number of years, not just when Corey Patterson was here, there were a number of years where the Reds were playing musical chairs in the outfield. A different center fielder every night, a different left fielder, a different right fielder. It's very clear. If you've got Drew Stubbs now, or if you've got King Griffey Jr., or if you have Devon White, as the Blue Jays had, that's my center fielder. Everything he can get to, he takes.
Right. And that's how it's supposed to work. The center fielder is supposed to be the captain on the ball in the air.
That's a bullet in the left. Phillips will take a big turn, fielded cleanly by the left fielder Patterson, so Phillips will hold it first. You can see Brandon had an idea of two if there was any trouble in the corner, but Patterson got to it quickly and gets it in.
Well, I think this is the thing that the Reds do as well as any ball club. They run the bases with sheer aggression, and they put pressure on the opposition to make plays. And you could see Patterson get to the baseball. Well, not only did he have to get to the ball, he had to make a correct throw to second base quickly. If that throw's offline, Phillips takes second base.
For Brandon's on, he's stolen 4, been caught twice. If there's one part of his game that he has not put the pedal to yet, it's the base stealing part of it. He is very capable of stealing 20 a season, and in most years has. The overshift with Escobar remaining at short, the third baseman moving to second with Votto at the plate.
I think a lot of the reason Phillips has not run so much is he's been hitting in that 2-hole in front of Votto.
The other side of that now is with an overshift, it almost negates the idea of not running.
Right.
Because you've already got you want to keep the hole open on the right side if the second baseman's playing where the second baseman normally would. But with this shift, and if Phillips steals second, he's liable to just keep going and go to third. Well, there's nobody that'll beat him to third.
That's the thing I guarantee is going through Phillips' mind right now. Because if he makes it to second base, he does not have to stop. Because there's nobody, including Brandon Morrow, that's going to beat him from second base to third or from the mound to third. And it would take a player just like Phillips to do that, Jordan.
He's done it before, not recently, but it's something that's in his bag of tricks. Morrow to the stretch. That's a strike on the outside corner to Joey. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Votto last night had an 0 for 4 night. 3 ground balls to the second base side and 1 to the first baseman.
Looked like he was really jumping at the ball last night instead of that relaxed opposite field intention that we normally see from Votto.
He's got a 1.5 miles in left center right now. And not only is the shift pulling Escobar way over, but Davis is almost straight away, not as far into left center as they usually play him, and Patterson is shaded towards the line. This is a different outfield defense than the National League usually plays against Votto. They'll take the left fielder and move him towards the alley. 3-2. Will Phillips be going? He was leaning, but they'll chase him back.
What confuses me, George, is that Brandon Morrow is pitching Votto away, and they leave that whole side of the infield on the left side wide open.
3-2, 1 away. Phillips is going, and Joey protecting fouls it off to the left side.
Normally, if you are going to pitch a hitter away like that, a left-handed hitter away, you would pitch him away soft so that he gets out in front and pulls that ball to the right side. Right now, they're throwing him fastballs away, which if they're strikes, Votto can shoot that ball right through the, well, anywhere from the third base line all the way to second base. It's wide open.
Try it again. 3-2. Phillips going again. That's a swing and a miss. The throw is high, but they will get him anyways. A strike him out, throw him out, double play. Doesn't happen often with those two, but it ends the inning here. For serious injuries. Here's the interleague matchup schedule. The Reds at the bottom play teams with an aggregate over 500 record by 15. They play the winning Cleveland Indians, the winning Yankees, and the over 500 Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Toronto and Baltimore are under.
St. Louis, no Red Sox, no Yankees. Go figure.
Certainly an imbalance in this year in interleague competition. We'll show you that again a little bit later. Our Storylines brought to you by Elk & Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Maybe we ought to get them on the case.
Yeah,
Elk & Elk on the case. Straighten this whole thing out. Here's the first baseman, Adam Lynn. And if you looked at, again, last night's ball game, Mike Leake pitched brilliantly. He made about 4 bad pitches, talking to him before the game today. Unfortunately, one of them was to this guy. He made one mistake too many to Adam Lynn, and he made him pay with a 2-run homer. His 15th of the year.
And the funny thing about that, George, is the fact that he hit Corey Patterson with a breaking ball to start the inning. I think that set everything else up with the 2 sluggers, Bautista and Lynn. I think if he gets Patterson out, it's a whole different story, because you're pitching out of the windup with nobody on against Bautista and Lynn, and he had been getting them out earlier.
To Hopper to Joey. Volquez double steps on it, and it'll be safe at first. We'll see who'll get the error. Really, this should be Volquez's error. He stutter stepped. If he just catches the ball, he's got plenty of time to touch it. We'll see who they give the error to.
Well, it looks like Volquez is heading there in full speed, and then he just kind of stops there. But Joey, you're right. Joey threw the ball behind him.
They're giving Volquez the error.
That's not Volquez's error. That was a bad throw.
Another look.
Nice play by Votto.
You know, the other part of this, you know, Cowboy, because you did it. So much PFP for so many years. Most pitchers will have a standard route that they'll take. Volquez, if you look at him, he never does. He'll go different ways almost every time he goes to first, which can be disconcerting to your first baseman.
Well, it is, and that's the reason that Volquez has such a difficult time with that play, and Votto has a tough time with Volquez, because sometimes he'll run directly to the bag full speed, sometimes he doesn't get over there at all, sometimes he runs almost to the third base coach's box and then coast up the line.
Well, Ron Roth in the official scorer's booth has now reversed it. They've changed the error from Volquez to Votto. So Joey Votto will be charged with the miscue. Leadoff hitter on via the error. Here's Aaron Hill in at 250. A ball and a strike to the Blue Jays second baseman. Now back to before we wrap up that inning that exploded for the Reds. Mike Leake had pitched from the stretch only twice through the first 6 innings, and then back to back he faced 3 batters from the stretch. Is that a factor?
I think it is in a certain sense. I think the bottom line is that in your game plan you don't want Bautista or Lynn to beat you, and he put himself in a situation by hitting Corey Patterson where he had to face him. And the bottom line is they beat him. We were talking about Votto winning the Hank Aaron Award. Well, you got a guy in the other dugout, Bautista, that won it the same, and he hit a ball that was up and out of the strike zone off the bullpen fencing. An absolute rocket to just to the left of the center field fence.
2-2. Way out in front. Strikeout number 3, out number 1 here in the second. Hey, Kroger and the Reds are proud to team up with an offer for a great value this season. Check concession stands throughout the ballpark for the Kroger meal deal, which includes a full-size adult hot dog, bag of chips, 16-ounce Coke, and during this homestand, Snackwells, all for just $7.
Well, fortunately for Edinson Volquez, he has the ability arm-wise and pitching-wise now to make up for his inability athletically over there at first base. He just struck out a pretty good hitter, and Aaron Hill made him look awfully bad.
Here's Molina in at 289. Molina has one hit against Volquez in their matchups. It was a homer. Jose, one of the 3 Molina catching brothers. Put his dad in that list too. His dad was a great ball player as well.
Well, Pops is the one that started it all.
Yeah. Good genes doesn't hurt, does it? Mason, have your genes?
I hope so.
Which ones? The baseball genes?
I hope he's got the arm gene. Has his mama's brain and my arm.
That's a good combo. Left center hit pretty good. Going back. Warning track. Looking up. Heisey can't get it. One hop off the wall. Holding at second, and now going to third will be Lind. He had to hold at second until he saw whether or not Heisey could get to it. Boy, Heisey went a long way just to get close to this one.
Well, the hustle of Heisey saved the Reds a run right here, because this ball is tagged. A fastball right at the face mask of the catcher, which equals middle of the plate and about belt high for the hitter. And because Heisey was hustling all the way, Lynn had to stop at second base. He wasn't sure if Heisey was going to catch the ball or not. So now he's at second. He's at third. Molina is at second. You've got a chance to get out of this inning without any damage.
So Molina sitting at second. Lind over at third, and here's the speedy Rajai Davis. And you cannot rule out a bunt here. Davis, great speed, one of the 3 or 4 fastest runners in the American League. 18 stolen bases on the year. His difficulty's been getting on. He's in at only 245. So Lind over at third with third base coach Jack Butterfield. Votto edge of the grass, Roland edge of the grass at first and third.
Volquez is a little bit frustrated with Dale Scott right now. He missed a 1-0 pitch that was a borderline as far as the height of the pitch, and it looked as though Volquez was a little frustrated with the call. The next pitch ends up off the left field wall.
1 ball, no strikes. Rolling. Saves a run. Unbelievable. The ball was just about by him. He's playing tight to guard against the bunt. This is what 8 Gold Gloves in your back pocket shows the opposition. Brilliant.
Ball hits sharply. Roland dives to his left as he comes up to make the pirouette throw. He checks Lynn in his peripheral vision. It helps to have an awfully strong arm to get speed like Davis.
The game is a game of little things, and that's a 3-part saga right there. Catching it, stopping it, checking the runner, and still getting the speedy Davis. So now with the 8-hitter Nix coming up, they will walk him intentionally, load the bases, and face Brandon Morrow, the pitcher.
I don't know that you can equate how many times this Reds defense has saved runs, but it is one of the things that has kept this club afloat when they were not pitching well, when they did not hit. The one thing that they have always done, just save a couple of ball games, is catch the ball and make game-saving plays. The play by Heisey in left center field, just the hustle, George, keeps the runner from scoring. That play by Roland keeps the runner from scoring and gets a speedy Davis. It allows you to walk this batter, and now you face the pitcher with 2 outs.
Without those 2 plays, it's 2-0 right now.
Bingo.
And probably a runner at third, and probably Davis on base
with a threat to steal.
Threat to steal. Here's Morrow. Hitless so far this year.
I wonder how many times Jason Nix at 181 has been intentionally walked this year.
The joys of hitting in the 8th spot in the National League, right?
You got it.
He said, I'm going to call Lance tonight and tell him I got intentionally walked
by your whole team.
Their mom and dad they'll follow him around the country. Great family. Great. Lance, of course, he was such an integral part of this ball club. Now down in Washington. To Hopper down to short. A long throw. Just does get him. Morrow hustling down the line, but Giannis gets him. Scott Rowland saves a run. Great stop, great throw. We're still scoreless. Hall of Fame baseball writer Hal McCoy, plus read his article about the Midsummer Classic collision between Pete Rose and Ray Fosse. Only on FoxSportsOhio.com, presented by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO and SafeAuto.com. You just got back from Atlantis down in the Bahamas.
Yes, sir.
Hal McCoy's heading there for his next vacation. I think you would endorse it, right?
Big time.
Who had the better time, Elizabeth, Ashley?
I'm going to say our moms did. I mean, neither had ever been to any place like that, and I think they had a wonderful time.
And you didn't have a bad time either.
I had a great time. Nothing like those waterfalls and those slides and that lazy river.
You go on the tube down the lazy river, you just float.
Tube. Feet up, kick back.
You went to the dolphin show?
We did. All 6 of us.
Did you get splashed?
We all kissed the dolphin. Yes, we did.
Here's Jay Bruce, 17 homers, 48 knocked in. Down and in for ball 1. In other words, you'd go back pronto.
I don't have any choice now. The kids are already wanting to go back. Of course, my son at 4 years old thinks that it's like right down the street.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't realize we had to fly all the way down there. Can we go back tomorrow?
2-0 to Bruce. And then you had to catch up on your beauty sleep last night. Did you finally get a good night?
Well, the problem is when you fly like that, sooner or later you're going to get trapped in Atlanta. And I got trapped going and coming. I spent 2 nights in the last 8 days in Atlanta.
Joys of flying, huh?
Well, it's just part of it.
So does that mean last night when we left here, did you go right home?
Oh, yeah. I went right in the bed.
But you made no stops?
Well, I did make 1 stop.
And that was?
Got a little UDF.
They didn't have UDF down in the...
Well, I haven't had
Atlanta.
So I have not had any in about 10 days. And, you know, I was getting the shakes. I got my Coca-Cola in here yesterday, and I was live and in concert after the game.
3-2 to Bruce. Looped into right center. That'll drop for a hit. Jay will take a big turn, but Davis is there to get it in quickly. So the Reds get the leadoff hitter on here in the second.
But I didn't fall asleep with the ice cream on my stomach. I've done that before. Jay Bruce gets a fastball inside here. It's supposed to be away. It ends up in. And Jay is right on the baseball. He doesn't hit it on the nose of the bat. He actually looked as though he caught it on the end of the bat. But the bat dies a hero.
So here's Scott. Runner on first. Nobody out. Rolling. Last night drilled a homer, his third of the year, down the left field line. Short lead for Bruce. In the air to center. Almost in his tracks is Davis. Bruce will go halfway and then retreat to first. One away.
Starting to get a little rain, Georgia.
Sprinkles around the area. Time for our Honda standings. In the Central, it was a dark night. Milwaukee, St. Louis, Cincinnati, all losers last night. So the Cardinals starting play today. 1 game back of the Brew Crew. The Reds 2 games back. Pirates lost as well. They're now 1 game over 500 and 3 games back. Right now the Yankees are leading the Cubs 3-2.
Well, the Reds have to know how the Cardinals feel right now. The Reds went through that on that last road trip before the West Coast swing. That road trip through Cleveland, Philadelphia, Atlanta. I don't think anybody wants to do that again anytime soon.
Kansas City leading the Cardinals again 2-1 right now in the second inning. Albert made another error. He had 3 errors in the last series. One of them came over at third, playing third. That tells you something, though, about what Albert Pujols is, volunteering to move to third just so you could get Berkman's bat in the lineup.
Well, they're struggling offensively. They're struggling with their pitching, trying to get as many bats in the lineup as they can. And without David Freese.
Did you imagine Chris Carpenter 1-7 at this stage of the year?
No, I don't think anybody would. I didn't expect him to be 7-1 either.
Strike one to Heisey. In at 270. 5 homers, 22 knocked in. Quick feet for Morrow on the mound. He'll also use his slide step, but he's pretty fast to the plate. So you combine that with Molina. This is not an easy combination to steal on.
No, it's not. But what you try to do is get Morrow in an account where he's got to throw fastballs or got to throw strikes, and you can use the hit and run.
Here are the numbers for Chris, either in the starting lineup or off the bench. You know how valuable he's been the last 2 years with the pinch hit homers last year and his ability to come up with big hits time and time again.
Those numbers underlined right there are incredible. I think that you could see some semblance of those numbers if he had an opportunity to play every day without the in and out, up and down, in and out. I think when you're a young player, especially a guy like Heisey, who was the Reds minor league player of the year before he came to the big leagues, you're used to playing every day. Now he is, I'm not going to say mastered, because I think there's never a chance to master hitting off the bench. It's too difficult. But I think he's done awfully well, and I think he could transition into an everyday player with ease.
Guy to the right side. Here comes Bautista. He's got it 2 away.
You know as well as I do, George, you played this game. You know how difficult it is when you want something so bad. You want to play every day. And then when you're given the opportunity to start, even though you do all in your will to try not to try too hard, you do it anyway. And that's what that young man's doing right now. He tries too hard every time he's given a start. He doesn't relax and let his talent come through.
I'll tell you this, as I go around to different baseball venues and talk to scouts and front office personnel, those people that talk to the Reds about any possible deals,
he's always
at the top of the list.
You got that right.
I mean, and it's been impressive to watch how he's evolved and grown up in the last 2 years. first in a pinch hitting role, and here's Ramon Hernandez. And secondly, how he's, and you watch him every day, Cowboy. You see how he approaches his work in the batting cage, how he approaches BP every day, sitting with Brooke Jacoby right there.
Well, he's in the video room watching the pitcher of the day. He works on his swing. He works not only on that, but he also works on his defense. He's a heck of a left fielder. I mean, we just saw him save the Reds a run in the last inning, not by a catch he made, but just by sheer hustle.
There are half a dozen teams right now that would trade for him and put him in center field or left field as an everyday player.
He's going to be an everyday player sooner or later, and it may be on this ball club here before you know it.
Ramon fouls it off 0-2.
But in my mind, in order to play every day, you have to have the same opportunity that has been allowed for Jay Bruce in right field and for Drew Stubbs in center field. This young man played at the same levels that they did. They were not the minor league player of their year, and yet he was, and yet he sits on the bench.
Swing and a miss, so the strikeout gets Morrow out of trouble. The Reds strand a runner. Here we go to the third.
I don't know what it was, but I couldn't relate to hockey. I enjoyed basketball, but baseball just fit me. And the Blue Jays were fantastic when I was younger. They obviously won both World Series in the early 90s, and it was just an easy sport to gravitate to, both because I felt comfortable playing it and because the city's team was so popular.
Our Geico quote of the day from Joey Votto. He received one of the most impressive awards north of the border in Canada, the Lou Marsh Trophy, today as the Athlete of the Year from last year. Great to get him together with Jose Bautista, and Mutual Admiration Society for each other. And one thing they talked about, Cowboy, was they both went through a period. I mean, Joey, he was signed as a catcher. They weren't sure where they were going to play him, much like Yonder Alonso's going through right now. And there was a period of time where, not Walt Jocketty's administration, but before he got here, there were some people who didn't think Joey Votto would make it in the major leagues. So
there were quite a few, because I was here during that, and you were too. A lot of people didn't know that he was going to get here simply because he didn't have a place to play.
Yep. And they didn't understand his dedication to the game or how hard he would work. He was almost included in a couple of deals.
Well, and I think the same thing, and you just mentioned it, I think the same thing goes for Yonder Alonso. I mean, he's playing a lot of left field down in Louisville. He's absolutely hitting the cover off the baseball.
1 ball, 2 strikes, fouled off.
But you know as well as I do, George, the changes that you make once you are actually here, once you have gotten to the big leagues and it's time to play for real, things change a little bit. And some guys get even better than they were, as in Joey Votto. And some guys fall off because they can't compete here.
Just missing on the outside corner, 2-2.
The one thing that I believe that the Reds have in their minor league system, especially at that AAA level, they have quite a few players that I really believe that when they cross the line and they're afforded an opportunity to play on an everyday basis up here, they're going to be good big leaguers.
That's a fair ball. It skirts past the line into the corner. Bruce will scoop it up, and cruising into second will be Escobar with a leadoff double here in the third. Talk about a cue stick off the end right here.
Well, he struck out last time looking changeups. He gets a changeup here and he shoots it right down the right field line. This ball looked as though he hit it off the label of the bat, but because of his approach and his inside out swing, or his determination to hit the ball the other way, he ends up with a double.
So Escobar with his first hit of the series in scoring position. And here comes Patterson, an outstanding bunter here in a scoreless game in the third. Easily will drag a bunt or push a bunt. Roland playing 2 steps in front of the bag at third. Votto even with the bag at first. Volquez and Hernandez can't get together on the sign, so Patterson will step out, flip the bat, and then step back in again. Now they finally got a sign down. And Volquez will step off.
I still don't think that Volquez is at the sign that he wants to this time.
Rain coming down just a little heavier right now. Sprinkling here at Great American Ballpark. Shows the bunt. It's a perfectly deadened bunt. They will not get the out, and they'll get a run home. Thrown away by Volquez. Rounding second, heading to third. Here's the throw. They got a shot at him, and he is dead. Patterson thought the ball had been touched by somebody down the line, and he stopped at second. By the time he turned around, they had him between second and third. And
well, Jay held his arms up, but the umpire never held his arms up. And that's Dan Iasonia over there at first base. You see the throw well wide of first base. The ball goes over the tarp, down into the backside of the tarp, but it rolls out freely. Jay held his hands up, but then the ball came out, picks it up, fires it to Votto. Votto alertly looks to see where Patterson is, and Patterson's dead at third base.
Sacrifice E1. Now the tarp is in play. If the ball got wedged behind the tarp, then the play is dead. The ball never got wedged. It rolled behind the tarp and came out right to Jay Bruce. John Farrell will come out to try to ask the umpires to get together and decide.
It doesn't matter what Jay Bruce does. It matters what the umpire does. The umpire never, not even for a second, signaled ball out of play or ball can't be played. Now, just because Jay Bruce does that, that's up to Corey Patterson. He took a gamble by running from second to third. If he didn't want to get thrown out, he should have stayed at second.
Another look, and watch the ball hop over the top of the tarp and not stick in there, but roll out the back part of the tarp.
Ball bounces over the tarp here. Now watch as it goes down in there. Jay raises his hands. The ball rolls right out. Comes up firing. And guess what? Patterson dead in the door now.
Perfect throw by Votto after he takes the cutoff. Perfect bunt by Patterson. He'll get credit for sacrifice. Volquez will be charged with the error. An assist on the throw from Bruce to Votto. And watch Patterson here. He stops. Now will start again, but it's too late as the throw by Votto is perfect. So the Blue Jays get a run out of it, but the good news for the Reds is they get an out of it.
Well, the problem that is very obvious here in the early going is the defensive inadequacy of Edinson Volquez. We saw it in San Francisco in the base running incident where didn't tag up, didn't score. Got to be able to do a little bit more than just throw the baseball.
Two balls, no strikes to Jose Bautista, who grounded to third. You talk about Joey Votto having belief in himself early in his minor league career. Same thing with Jose. When Jim Tracy was the manager in Pittsburgh, he cautioned the Pirates. He said this young man could be a star if he gets enough at bats. Well, Tracy left. Bautista fell into disfavor, and in 1 year, in fact in 1 month, he was the property of 4 different teams: Baltimore, Kansas City, the Mets, and Pittsburgh. And he never did find a level of communication with John Russell when he was the manager there, so they shipped him out. When Bautista was drafted, they thought he would hit. They didn't know where he would play. But one series against the Reds, he played second, third, and the outfield.
I think that's a credit to the man.
Cam Bonifay, now a Reds assistant to Walt Jocketty, was in charge of the Pirates when they first drafted this guy. And they saw some potential, and he never gave up on himself. I mean, give him credit. Last year, 54 home runs.
Well, he knew that he had to change something at the plate in order to do more and reach his potential.
Perfect spot.
And he's a competitor. You see the frustration there by swinging at a breaking ball in the dirt. And that's some real emotion right there.
Third strikeout for Volquez. Bautista will credit Cito Gaston, last year's manager and then hitting coach Gene Tennis, and the current hitting coach Wayne Murphy is the guys who really retooled his swing, and you'll get into it a little bit more later on. But I mean, you talk about a stride. He's unhappy. He wasn't unhappy with the ball he swung and missed at. He was unhappy with the call before that. That's a base hit into right, and again the importance of the play by Bruce to Votto getting Patterson. That would have meant another run on the base hit by Lynn.
What, Adam Lynn on the ball that's up in the strike zone, he can flat hammer it. That ball he hit out last night was up and away, and that ball there was a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and he tomahawks it in the right field.
And he's in one of those zones right now. Whatever you're throwing him, he's finding a way to hit. Luis Rivera, the infield coach and the guy who's a great batting practice aficionado. He throws great BP for years, former infielder with the Red Sox, said he's in such a zone right now that he's hit 3 balls in the last week that they don't know how he hit them, but whenever he hit him, he just squared everyone up. He said even when I throw him BP, I'll throw a ball and he'll hit it hard someplace.
And he's catching everything out in front and on the barrel of the bat. Doesn't always happen that way.
Aaron Hill struck out first time up, hard down to third. Roland will take the short way, and that'll do it. Jays get a run thanks to some Reds misplays. It's 1-0. this season. That means another $25 from Shakely for the Reds Community Fund. Shakely, it's done. Here at Great American Ballpark, the Blue Jays on a double and a misplay by the Reds end up with a run, lead it 1-0. As we go to the bottom of the third, Giannis, Volquez, and then Stubbs due up. Let's go down to JD for an update on one of the Reds walking wounded.
Yeah, George, everyone wondering if and when Aroldis Chapman will make it back to the big club. He went down to Double-A Carolina, and his first few outings were not good at all. The last two have been very good. Last time out, 1 innings pitched, no runs, and then tonight, even bettered it. He went 2 innings tonight through 21 pitches, struck out 3, didn't walk a batter. A perfect inning for him. So 2 consecutive very good outings for Aroldis Chapman. And again, down there working on his mechanics, working on the mental side of the game. And the Reds hoping that he's back sooner than later, and pretty good sign tonight.
Good sign, huh, Cowboy?
Well, I think so. I think it's not only about. Wow. Well, they don't talk at all on that team, do they?
I got it. You take it.
You got to talk on the field of baseball, especially when you're running together.
Reds will take what goes as a hit.
Ball hit right off the end of the bat. Both catcher and pitcher could make the play, and they both jump out of the way at the same time.
It's like they saw a snake.
And in that play, George, you know who's in charge. It's the catcher.
Yep.
He's supposed to get the baseball and throw it to first base.
Jason Nix and Molina and Morrow, neither one of them can get together. So nobody out. Let's see if Volquez will be bunting. Nix in tied at third, expects it, and squaring is Volquez. They'll get it down. They'll look to second, bobbled by Morrow, and out at first. So it'll go as a sacrifice, and you got to believe the rain and the wet ball may have had something to do with this play.
Looked like it came right out of his fingertips. Reds fans, if you're in the restaurant industry, let JTM Food Group help you with great tasting menu products for your menu. Inspired solutions, better results. It's all JTM.
Little things. Volquez made a mistake on one, but here he gets the bunt down. If this is fielded cleanly, they probably have the runner at second.
I would say yes. He bunted it right back to the pitcher. Doesn't really seem a whole lot that Edinson does besides the pitching is going his way tonight. He's having a tough night all the way around.
So the Rice product, Paul Giannis, is down at second, and now the University of Texas product, Drew Stubbs, comes to the plate. Texas, by the way, tonight at the College World Series is leading Florida 3-0 in the bottom of the third in their first round game. Already completed this afternoon. Vanderbilt beat North Carolina 7-3 the first two games.
Did they really? It was 3-2 early in that ball game, and I saw Vandy starting to come back.
Our Farmers Insurance report card on Drew Stubbs as a leadoff hitter. Entering today, .344 on base percentage. That equates to 11 points above the average National League leadoff hitter. And 49 runs. That's the third most in the National League. That's all as a leadoff hitter. That's the positive side of the story. And everybody talks about the negative side, which is the strikeouts. And you and I have talked about it from time to time, Cowboy.
Just leave it alone.
Yeah.
They should.
Yep.
You know, I think that Drew is a very intelligent young man. As a matter of fact, I know he was. He was an academic All-American. But the thing about the strikeout issue, the more that you put your mind on it or you talk about it, the worse it gets. I think that as time goes on, the little adjustments that you make to quicken up your bat, to let the ball get deeper into the strike zone, to recognize pitches more, those are the small things where you can decrease the strikeouts. But 7 out of 10 times you're going to make outs. Now, his outs a lot of times are coming from the strikeout, not from a ground ball or a pop-up.
96th time he has struck out this year. That's the most in the National League. Hey, don't forget this July, baseball's biggest stars will gather for the Arizona desert for one spectacular night in the summer's biggest event, as Fox brings you every thrilling moment of the 2011 MLB All-Star Game. Coverage begins Tuesday, July 12th, live from Phoenix at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific, only on Fox. And that's not to say that strikeouts are not important. They are.
They are.
Let's face it. I mean, Drew Stubbs is still learning. It's not like he's a 10-year veteran and he's still striking out 180, 200 times a game. He's going to be what he'll be, but we don't know what he's going to be yet. He's not going to be a leadoff hitter, probably.
But the numbers for him are awfully good besides the strikeout. So let's focus on the positive rather than just beating a dead horse here.
Here's Brandon, singled first time up, waves at that for strike one.
You talk about 99% of the things that Drew Stubbs does, and they're all good. So let's branch out on that and continue to reinforce the positive and let him take care of working gradually on eliminating the strikeouts.
Ted Williams always said, I don't even want to talk to a hitter till he's had 1,000 at bats. Then I'm beginning to see what he is and what he's going to be.
I mean, you know that when you watch Drew Stubbs, his swing is a little bit long. He tends to raise up a little bit before he starts to get the bat into the strike zone, which makes the head move a little bit. It also adjusts the bat angle a lot of times. But everything is very small. I mean, we just got finished talking about the Hank Aaron Award winner in Jose Bautista. He couldn't hit anything when he was in Pittsburgh. Takes a little time.
Yep. It takes time. It takes inner confidence to stick to it. And it takes somebody surrounding you to help you get through those periods. And
I'm telling you, that kid right there works awfully hard.
Yep.
I mean, he really works hard.
And I think that's universal with the group of young players that the Reds have right now. Votto,
I would agree with that.
Giannis, Stubbs, Hannigan. You go through that whole crowd. And not only them, the ones that are coming up, too. You know, Heisey, Frazier, Dave Chappelle,
Joey
Ozark,
Joey Votto, Johnny Gomes, Scott Rowland, they all and this guy at the plate, Brandon Phillips, they all set a pretty good example as far as work ethic and how to handle yourself in coming to the ballpark in preparation for the game.
protective swing, staying alive is Brandon. Still 0-2.
I mean, you and I both remember when Brandon Phillips first got to this ball club, he struck out a lot. And now he's in a situation where you look at the top 7 or 8 in the National League, he's one of the toughest guys to strike out.
It's 1 ball, 2 strikes to Phillips. He fouls this off again.
You look at that escort radar gun out there, and this Morrow kid continues to register 96 miles an hour. And I mean, he is nice and smooth. Not a whole lot of herky-jerky to that motion.
You see scouting reports and people say, 95, 96, but until you see, you don't know, from gun to gun, from radar to radar, they could be blowing smoke. But this guy appears to throw a heavy fastball plus short compact motion.
Tough to pick it up.
Difficult to pick up. Wide to third. Nix has it. And they'll get the out. So the Reds get a leadoff hit. Nothing to show for it. Going to the 4th. Molina will lead it off. you by JTM Food Group, proudly serving America's restaurants, schools, retailers, and our military around the world. JTM Food Group by your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. For a dealer near you, visit buyatoyota.com. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more in car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by Blue Rhino, ready to grill, grab a Rhino. Visit bluerhino.com for a propane tank near you. Big swing by Molina, and forget this one. That's hit a ton and a half. We talked about the swings he's had prior to this. And first time up, he banged one off the left center field wall. And in 6 at-bats, that's the second home run that Jose Molina has against Volquez. And you could just see Volquez shake his head as if to say, he got me again.
Pitch is supposed to be down and away. And it's another fastball. And you and I both talked about this last time, George. Why are we throwing Jose Molina the only pitch that he can hit? He's a fastball hitter. He's going to try to hit the first fastball that he sees, just like the last time.
Off the end of the bat, left center field. It will clunk off the wall on one hop. Rounding first, going to second is Davis. He's going to try for 3. Here comes, no, there won't be a throw, as it looked like Giannis couldn't get a handle on the ball as it skipped off the grass, so he just held it. And it'll be a 3-base hit for Rajai Davis.
This ball bounces off the top of the bullpen. Another fastball out over the plate. And these Toronto Blue Jays are not missing him. You see it bounce off the top of the wall. Stubbs gets to it, gets it right in to Giannis, but because of the speed of Davis, he's looking 3 all the way, and he gets it. That kid can motor. Wow.
Well, Davis with a triple, and again another fastball. The home run by Molina, 437 feet worth of it. Another $20,000 has been raised to support prostate cancer research. To make a donation, you can call 800-798-CURE or go online to www.pcf.org. $20,000 in the bank after the big swing by Jose Molina. So infield in for the Reds. Still no one out. Great speed at third in Davis. The Blue Jays do have the home run power of Jose Bautista, 54 last year. But they lost 80 homers off the team that they had last year. And players that are no longer there. So John Farrell's done a lot of different things. He is safety squeezed, he's hit and run more than Toronto ever has done in recent years. And it's a lineup that, as John Farrell says, it's evolving. That, you know, he's made his speeches, he's given them his marching orders and say, just be ready.
Well, they also, this club is not a very good off-speed hitting club. They don't hit breaking balls well. They don't hit changeups well. They're up there looking for one fastball, especially the guys that are outside of Bautista and Lynn.
Safety squeeze, fouled off.
I mean, we have seen Rajai Davis in the National League. That's the reason he's not still in the National League and not a starting player in the National League, because he can't hit anything but a fastball.
Started off pretty strong, up around 280. Davis now down in the 240s. Went through a funk. He was 0 for 23 at one time. And bottom line was, Dwayne Murphy said, look, don't swing what you can't hit. Meaning, don't swing at the slider, at the curveball. Wait for a fastball.
You can see their approach.
Lined into left. That will be caught. Davis will tag low and score. Great effort by Heisey. Davis started to leave the bag. Butterfield yelled for him just to tag up. He did. He'll score easily, but that saved extra bases on a great effort by Heisey. It's
a changeup up and out over the plate. And a nice play by Heisey. Boy, that's full extension right there. And in that situation, George, you really have no chance other than making that play, or you run to the wall to pick up a double.
So a homer, a triple, and a sacrifice fly, and the Blue Jays now lead at 3-0. And here's Morrow, bounced out first time up.
Well, that's the pitch there that Volquez has got to get back to, is that curveball and getting it in the strike zone.
Strikeout number 4. 2 away, back to the top of the order. Yunel Escobar. Time for our AT&T trivia question. Who holds the record for the most inside the park home runs in a season since 1900? Oh, we're going way back. Jesse, you remember those days, right? You'll have the answer to this one.
Jesse? I ain't seen no Jesse.
He's been feeding you Coke like it's going out of style. What do you mean you ain't seen him? He's got you giving you 22 Cokes already. It's a new interleague record.
That's right. Wait till you see my record on ice cream. Homemade.
1 ball, no strikes. I think inside the park homers, I think Willie Wilson. He would rattle it around in the old ballpark in Kansas City on the turf, and he'd just be off to the races. Drew Stubbs had an inside the parker last night, the first ever here at Great American Ballpark, and the first by a Red since Ken Griffey Jr. had that game-winning inside the park home run at Synergy Field. There's the 1-1. I got to ask downstairs. Lauren, was this your question or was this you, Hunterman? Is this yours, Brian? Lauren? The Lawrence? Lauren White? You did it, huh? Okay, so there's got to be something tricky to it. It can't be something. It's not Dave Collins or Willie Wilson. It's somebody back way win. It's not going to be a Blue Jay if we go back that far.
Wee Willie Keeler.
Yeah. Swing and a miss. Escobar retired, but the damage done in the 4th. A homer by Molina, a triple and a sacrifice fly. 3-0 Toronto. Assigned during tonight's game, Becky Rydell, Fort Wright, Kentucky, who currently drives a Camry Solara, will win this beautiful new Tundra on display here at Great American Ballpark. Register for your chance to win at an upcoming game by seeing your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers.
Rydell, That was my first
Me too.
pair of cleats.
That's R-Y-D-E-L though, wasn't it?
I think it was R-I. R-I-D-E-L-L.
While we're on it, let's turn the page on this one. Who holds the record for most inside the park home runs in a season since 1900? And if it's a Red, who could it be? Jesse, you were right. Sam Crawford, you remembered.
Slippery Sam. They couldn't get him.
12 inside the park homers back in 1901. Jesse was in the booth for that too, weren't you? Yeah, that's what I figured.
They called him Skippy.
Skippy
He
Crawford.
was so fast it looked like he skipped first on the way around the base.
That's like the cool Papa Bell story. He was so fast he could turn off the lights and get in bed before the lights are off. And it was a true story. Here's Joey Votto, struck out first time up. It was a strike him out, throw him out double play that ended the Reds first. That's a bullet through the middle, touched by Morrow, and they'll get Votto at first. It did glaze off Morrow, or else it probably would have worked its way through. It'll go 1-5-3. Look out. I don't even have any doubt that if that's clean, it goes right through. Even with the shift, he would have beaten the shift. But as it is, it goes 1-5-3. And the cool Papa Bell story is a true story. I asked him once, I said, tell me about the story. And he started to laugh. And in the old Negro leagues, they used to stay in rooming houses. And they used to have, on the light switches, they had those push button switches, which we don't have anymore, but you'd push the button and the lights would go off. There's a swing and a Bruce shot into the right field corner for a base hit. So Jay is 2 for 2. He ended an 0 for 17 scheme with his first hit, and now he's 2 for 2. So the Reds have 1 out and 1 on with Rolen coming to the plate. Here's an Exmo Performance Honda look at that swing, Cowboy.
Look at that elbow drive right into the belt line. The left elbow into the backside of the belt. And that just makes everything all one as he comes through, and then that full extension as he drives the ball down the right field line. Left elbow jammed into the hip, and then wham.
Let's see if we can get something rolling here with 1 out, 1 on as Scott comes to the plate. Fly ball to center first time up. And back to Cool Papa. He said he and his roommate had a room in the rooming house, and they figured out that when you push the switch, there was a delay before the lights went out. So teams would come in and play his ball club, and they'd come in to play cards late at night, and they'd be betting money. And Cool Papa Bell was fast. He was so fast, he hit a ground ball up the middle once, and it hit him at second base. And he was called out. That was the story they said about Cool Papa. So he and his roommate used to bet guys. They'd come in and
I bet you I can get in that bed before the light goes out.
And back then, you bet a penny or two, you made some money. Jammed them 5-4. They get the force, and that's all. 2 away. Right pitch, right time. That's what Morrow is needed, and he got it with the strikeout of Votto with Phillips trying to steal in the first, and he gets it here. They get the lead runner, now 2 away in the 4th.
Well, he has not been wild in the outside of the strike zone as he normally is. Doesn't have a tremendous amount of walks, but for the innings that he has in there, he does have more than you would expect. .25 walks in 54 in the 3rd innings. It's a little over what your ideal percentage would be, even though he has struck out 12 more batters than innings.
Now, even the Blue Jays around the batting cage today, we're talking about last night. No walks from JoJo Reyes. Here's another bouncer, and they'll get the force at second. So a promising inning for the Reds by the boards again. 3-0 Toronto. 30 minutes before every game with Reds Live on Fox Sports Ohio. Reds Live, everything a Reds fan needs to get ready for the ball game. Reds Live presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Patterson, Bautista, and Adam Lynn due up as we go to the top of the 5th. If you joined us late, the Reds got a runner on a base hit with 1 out in the first, Brandon Phillips, but trying to steal on a 3-2 pitch to Votto with 1 away was a strike him out, throw him out double play. Leadoff hit from Jay Bruce in the 2nd. He was left stranded. Leadoff hit by Paul Janisch in the 3rd. He was left stranded. And a 1-out hit by Jay Bruce in the 4th, and he was left stranded. The Blue Jays scored a run in the 3rd on a leadoff double by Escobar, a sacrifice and an error on the throw by the pitcher Edinson Volquez allowed a run to score. And then in the 4th, Molina led off with a homer to make it 2-0. A triple by Davis and a sacrifice fly by Jason Nix. Left field, going back, looking up, reaching up. It's off the glove of Heisey against the wall, and Patterson will cruise into second base. That one just kept sailing. Heisey's initial reaction was to go parallel to the baseline, the 2nd to 3rd baseline, and then tried to bend it back, but it was too late and the ball goes over his head.
Well, when you have a ball coming off a left-handed hitter's bat, it is going to slice back to you. And as Heisey was going back for the ball, it just appeared that looked like he overran the ball, and the ball came back to him. It hit off of his glove. They're going to give a 2-base hit to Corey Patterson, but I don't know if I agree with that or not.
Well, Corey's on second, nobody out. Here's Jose Bautista. Bounced to 3rd and then struck out. He was not happy with an initial strike call made by the home plate umpire Dale Scott, and then wound up swinging at a ball in the dirt for strike 3. He joined us before the game on Reds Live as they overshift against Bautista with Phillips behind the second base bag.
This is where Bautista and Adam Lynn are at their best. Runner in scoring position. They've got a chance to drive them in. You got to be on your game right here if you're Edinson Volquez.
Here's Joey Votto talking about Bautista.
I love his swing. I love how quick his bat comes through the zone, and at the same time, he's got that really aggressive, whippy-like swing. But he's also super patient. You're walking 100, 150 times a year, and you're hitting 50 homers. I mean, it's great to watch, and it looks like he's getting better.
Joey Votto on Jose Bautista. Now, one scout, I said, give me your evaluation of Bautista. He said a right-handed Barry Bonds, which is, it's an interesting because he doesn't swing at balls. You got to throw him a strike. He is very patient, and boy, he can turn on a pitch. Two and one. That's going to find its way through. Patterson, great speed around 3rd. They won't even have a play. Caught between 1st and 2nd is Bautista, but nobody there as Votto came over for the cutout. Bautista will head back to 1st. He took a big turn and was 2/3 of the way to 2nd.
Well, even the pitch there, George, I mean, it was down, but that pitch was right in the heart of the plate. I don't care if you throw it 100. That's right where you want to hit it if you're a fastball hitter, and that's what that man is.
And that's not a place that you want a 1-2 pitch.
No. It's not a place that you want any pitch to Jose Bautista or this guy.
Here's Lynn, 1 for 2, reached on an error and single to right. 4 runs, 7 hits for Toronto. No runs, 4 hits for the Reds. Action in the bullpen for the Reds for the first time. Jose Arredondo. Now sitting at 74 pitches is Edinson Volquez. Still no one out here in the 5th. 0-2.
'75 pitches already for Volquez, and he does not have an out here in this inning.
He gets Lynn. Strikeout number 6.
3 out of the 4 pitches to Adam Lynn are changeups, and they're all in the same spot. He wasted a fastball off the plate away right before that pitch. And George, we were talking about it earlier. This is a fastball hitting team. And where they have hurt Volquez tonight, it has been with the fastball in the middle of the plate.
That's strikeout number 7. Check that for Volquez. You know, when Volquez went down to AAA and worked with Teddy Power, Mario Soto was there to nurse him through it. Soto's been right by his side throughout his Reds tenure. He's been such a boost to both he and Johnny Cueto as well. He's like a father figure.
He is a blessing to this Reds organization, not only from the time that he pitched, but also for what he's able to do with some of the Latin and American pitchers now.
It's so great to watch him during spring training, take some of the young pitchers aside, not the AAA or Major League ones. I'm talking about the rookie guys, the single A guys who nobody knows. He'll make sure they're taken care of. He'll take them to good restaurants. He'll
really
take them out to dinner and just talk about life.
Just a really good man. I'm telling you, the Reds are awfully fortunate to have someone like him in their organization that cares enough to come back and lend his mental efforts to some of these youngsters.
Swing and a miss. But the one thing that Mario Soto always gave you was a 2-pitch pitcher that could start and win, and that was his changeup. And the one thing he's always continued to hammer into both Cueto and Volquez is don't forget your changeup.
Right. And that's the one thing I think that has really separated Cueto from Volquez now, is the fact that Cueto has figured out fastball in, changeup away, fastball in, changeup away. Well, you speed the bat up on the fastball in, you slow it down on the changeup away. Volquez has got to get back to the confidence of being able to throw that fastball on the inside corner.
Great pick by Phillips. And a great turn, but it's in the dirt. The runner will be safe. The ball does not go into the camera booth, so it is still in play. No error. Almost another brilliant double play effort. First side of it outstanding by Phillips on a tough hop, and almost another brilliant turn by Giannis.
Well, this double play is negated because of the hustle of who else but the Hank Aaron Award winner in the American League, and that's Jose Bautista. I mean, he is right on top of Giannis when he comes across the bag, and it affects his throw. Makes him have to jump.
So 2 away, and now runner still on at first, and here's that guy Molina again. Already today a double, and then home run number 2 for him. 2 for the year and 2 in his career against Edinson Volquez. A 437-foot shot to left field.
See, this is where you get in trouble with a guy like Molina. You want to make him hit a breaking ball? Well, you have to throw it for a strike. You have to make him hit that pitch. You can't make him swing and miss it because he's looking fastball only.
There goes the runner. They don't even look at him. He steals it on Volquez. A brain cramp from Edison Volquez. Didn't even look at him.
Well, it's been that type of night all night for Edinson Volquez. It started back on the trying to cover first base earlier, and he had difficulty. He threw the ball away on the bunt, and now this happens here. Like I said earlier, George, as a major league pitcher, not just a starter, but as a major league pitcher, you're expected to be able to pitch. That's what gets you here. But if you want to stay here, you've got to be able to field your position, and you've got to be able to bunt. They only ask you to do 3 things.
Physical errors are accepted as part of the game. Mental errors are
not.
Exactly. And they are what will irritate a manager, a pitching coach, and teammates too.
Well, it frustrates the players that are out there because everyone else is feeling as though they get prepared and are out there working and doing all the things that they're supposed to do. And, you know, in the minds of normal players, covering first base or fielding a ground ball and throwing it to first base, in their minds, that's really not that difficult of a deal. Same thing goes with bunting the baseball.
And the other part of that is the concept and the word teammate. And when you came over from San Francisco here, the Reds had a stretch where there was so much leadership in your bullpen. I mean, yourself, Jeff Shaw, Scott Sullivan, go down the list, that paved the way for those that followed and paved the way for the way you were going to conduct yourself, doing the little things.
Well, it's just a way that you went about your business.
Coaches and managers can do so much. Teammates can do more usually.
It's a balk.
That's no excuse. Well, balk, 2 runners will advance. Dusty Baker saying, did he step off? He's not coming out to argue as yet. Take a look. He said he moved his hand before he stepped off. So now the runners are at second and third with 2 away. And here's Davis. I mean, Davis is like Drew Stubbs. You think 2 away, ground ball, you're out of this. A normal ground ball to short with this guy running could be trouble.
Well, even a ball up the middle here, you don't have the benefit of allowing Phillips to make that grand play. This guy can fly. If you're Volquez in this situation, George, you're looking for the strikeout. And if Davis will swing at that pitch there, then he'll swing at another one a little further out. Just don't give him a fastball to hit here.
No balls, 2 strikes. Wants it up high. Ooh. Damage again, double and a single. 4-0. Toronto with the lead. Subscribe to MLB.TV today to see every Reds game live or on demand on your computer and your favorite devices. Visit Reds.com to order and get more details. MLB.TV, baseball everywhere. Little things. I mean, the hits, the strikeouts, the walks, it's the mental part of the game, and it's hurt the Reds on this night.
Well, it just goes back to what we've talked about time and time again, George. It's not just about the physical qualities that you have playing the game. Your physical attributes are what get you to the big leagues. Your ability to run, hit, throw, hit the ball over the fence, throw the ball, pitch, throw the ball with velocity. But pitching takes a little bit more. The art of pitching is a mental process, and it takes some time to develop that where your physical skills can follow.
And the act of fighting through difficult times makes the difference between a Joey Votto and a Jose Bautista and somebody that fades into the woodwork.
You're exactly right.
That's where Edinson is right now. He's got to call upon that inside himself.
He really does. I mean, it's part of learning to be mentally tough, and this game will grind on you. I mean, it is not a tough. I mean, it's not an easy game. It's very difficult. And those that don't believe that, well, then you haven't been out there, because this game will humble you in every sense of the word.
Here's Ramon, struck out first time up. Sliced to the right side. Hill has it, and there's one away. Well, while all this has been going on, Morrow's been superb again. The Reds thus far have only 4 hits. 16 greatest moments in MLB All-Star Game history, going head-to-head to determine which is the most memorable of all time. Go to MLB.com/moments and vote now for your favorite midsummer classics. And tune in to the 2011 MLB All-Star Game on Tuesday, July 12th at 8 o'clock Eastern here on Fox to find out who won. That's foul down the third base line.
I remember that shot on that promo there by Bo Jackson that he hit off of Big Daddy Rick Russell out in Kansas City in the All-Star game, and he hit it into the fountain in dead center field on a ball that looked like it was just about to bounce. And that was back when Bo Jackson had really just appeared on the big league scene. And to be able to hit that ball in an All-Star game on the first pitch he saw, it was a grand wow effect, if you will.
Deion Sanders was a remarkable football player, and his speed translated into a decent baseball player. Bo Jackson was a Hall of Fame caliber baseball player if he had not been hurt and had spent more time with the game. He could do everything.
He really could. And he did not look as fluid as a lot of baseball players did, simply because his body type did not allow him to do that. He did not really grow up playing just baseball, even though he was an all-star baseball player at McAdory High School in Birmingham growing up. But football was his game.
Volquez night is done. Miguel Cairo will pinch hit here in the bottom of the 5th. Five-inning pitch, 7 hits, 4 runs all earned, 8 strikeouts, 2 walks, and 88 pitches, 55 of them were strikes. Now the Reds will have to play comeback baseball again. While on the other side of it, Brandon Morrow's doing the same thing Jojo Reyes did last night. 16 of 18 first pitch strikes.
Well, the problem that the Reds have right now, they've been able to get 1 hit, but they haven't been able to string 2 or 3 hits together in an inning. And in order to put some pressure on the opposition, you have to do that. This club will have some defensive miscues, talking about the Blue Jays, but without that offensive pressure, it's not going to happen. And we've already seen twice in 2 nights where they had some communication issues. One on the pitcher-catcher exchange for a base hit by Giannis, and one an inside the park home run in right center field last night.
And you talk about numbers. We talked about the fact that the Blue Jays came in allowing more walks than any other team in the American League. And it should not be lost that they play in a division where the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Blue Jays traditionally have strung out at bats to 7, 8, 9, 10 pitches.
Right.
They'll force you into throwing strikes, and they'll draw a lot of walks. It's the same remedy here. I mean, working at bat, get a base runner, and then strange things can happen.
And part of that too, George, is when you put runners in scoring position, and you've got somebody like Votto or Roland or Bruce or Phillips at the plate, the pitcher's got to work a little bit harder. But if they're only at first base, as a pitcher, you're not so worried about it. You're still relaxed. And in order to put the pressure on the pitcher, you got to string some hits together, or at least some extra base hits.
Well, JoJo Reyes didn't walk a man last night. So far here this evening, Brandon Morrow's walked only one. This 26-year-old out of University of California at Berkeley has been right on his game. Molina puts the glove down and he hits it. And speaking of a perfect pitch, there's another ground ball out. 1, 2, 3 go the Reds. They trail 4-0. Fans 14 and younger to get a Bronson Royal plush doll thanks to New York Life. Then cheer on your Reds as they take on the Indians in the battle for the Ohio Cup. For tickets, see your Reds and Indians. Call 513-381-REDS or visit Reds.com. Indians are leading the Pittsburgh Pirates 3-0. They're now in the 9th inning in Cleveland. Milwaukee leads the Red Sox 4-2. They're in the 6th inning.
Jose Arredondo coming in for the Reds. Arredondo coming off of Tommy John surgery, and boy, he has got some electric stuff. You see the numbers there. The big key is that number right down here. 12 walks, 12 strikeouts and 11 walks. And that's the one thing that both Dusty Baker and Brian Price have really wanted Arredondo to work on in the greatest sense. He has phenomenal stuff, a great fastball, a great feel for pitching. Opponents only hitting .235 against him. But in just about every ball game, he's either had a leadoff walk or he has walked a couple of batters to get himself into trouble. Fastball, split finger. He's one of the kind of guys, George, you'd like to get him going. He could really, really help you in the bullpen if he can get back to his normal ways.
He's retired only 9 of the first 16 batters he has faced. And of the 7 he has not retired, 6 of them have walked.
Well, he has a difficult time getting the fastball down in the strike zone early. And a lot of that comes from overthrowing the baseball when he first gets into the game. And as you saw the curveball there, that ball was nowhere near the strike zone. Bounced to the backstop. Hernandez didn't even get a glove on.
2 balls, no strikes. The third baseman, Jason Nix, down the left field line, curving. It'll go foul.
Come for the Reds, stay for more fun. Make it a home run weekend and visit the Reds Hall of Fame and Museum. Book your trip at CincinnatiUSA.com. This is when you're guessing fastball, friends. I know it's coming. I'm swinging no matter where it is, and look where that ball is. It is eye high.
Oh, eye high or Exmo high. That was high. Popped up. It'll be out of play. 2-2. Almost every year, a major league manager and pitching coach will come across one pitcher that they'll have in their bullpen, and you sense that this guy could be something special. He could turn around the bullpen and give you something that you didn't have before. Sometimes it's a minor leaguer that comes up. Sometimes it's a free agent. Sometimes it's somebody that you picked up on waivers or whatever. And you get the feeling that Dusty Baker and Brian Price really feel that if Arredondo does get it together, he could.
This is
really,
the guy.
Boy.
But the issue for Arredondo is he has got to get the ball going towards home plate. Sometimes he falls to that first base side. That's a nice pitch right there.
Well, and great comeback too. After going down 2 balls, no strikes, he comes back to get Nix. And a first batter retired. Efficiency rating goes up with this pitch.
Well, I think Arredondo is intelligent enough from the pitching side of the game to know that in order to stick around and to continue getting these kinds of opportunities, he's got to get the ball in the strike zone more times than not.
Cowboy, if you get him right, Chapman comes back, and you got Nick Massett. That's a pretty powerful 7th and 8th inning heading into Cordero.
Well, it really is, and you see the split finger there. Even though that's the pitcher at the plate, it's an awfully good split finger fastball.
And you already have Bill Bray, who's had a tremendous season from the left side.
The thing that I like about Arredondo is he has no fear whatsoever. It doesn't matter if you bring back Babe Ruth from the dead standing up there. This kid has no fear.
It's like somebody else I remember sitting next to me. There's a bouncer down to short. I'll never forget the story of one of the guys. We talk about guys, you know, we honor Roland Heeman will get the Buck O'Neill Award at Cooperstown this year. Pat Gillick, the former general manager of the Blue Jays, helped so many people. Al Rosen was a guy that I grew up in baseball with, and I learned so much from him. And I remember him telling a story about you, how you went up to him one day and said, "I'm going to make your ball club."
I did.
To Al Rosen, who was like the sergeant, the general. You didn't go up and say that to a guy like that.
Well, I figured I didn't have anything to lose. I wasn't on the roster.
This is spring training, or was it?
It was in spring training. He looked at me like I'd lost my mind. But I'd made the team, non-roster.
This is before you made the team or after?
This was before I made the team. Before I had just got to big league camp. Back-to-back awfully good breaking balls there, straight over the top from Arredondo. He likes to pitch backwards, especially to right-handers. He likes to get those breaking balls over and then zoom that heater in there.
Escobar struck out, doubled, struck out. Talk about someone who will sing the praises of another player. Yunel Escobar said the man who's meant the most to him in his maturation process as a ball player is Edgar Renteria.
How about that?
He said Edgar has taken me under his wings, taught me how to mature off the field. He said I made some mistakes in Atlanta. And when I was talking to him, he tapped his heart. He said that's what Edgar means to me. He said he's made me a better person and a better baseball player. And I could see it. I hadn't been around Escobar until this series, and you see a difference. 1 ball, 2 strikes. I mean, in Atlanta, he infuriated some of his teammates and some of the opposition with some of the flashy plays he made, and that was one of the reasons he was eventually dealt away.
Well, he wanted to be noticed on every single play of the game, regardless if he was making it or not. And it just doesn't always work like that. And I think part of that, George, is very similar to how Brandon Phillips, when he came from the Indians, get that chip on your shoulder. You want to show other people that you're a good player. I'm good. I can play this game. But the best way to handle that is just to go out there and do your job, do it well, and others will notice.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Did he go? Yes, he did.
Nice inning.
Arredondo has a nice clean 6th inning. Hey, maybe the Reds can pick up on this. They trail 4-0. For the Coors Light freeze cam, another dandy by a Reds left fielder, a Wisey from Heisey. Wow! Chris Heisey's diving catch. The Coors Light freeze cam brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Wound up being a sacrifice fly as Davis scored, but had not he made that play, it would have been extra bases and that inning would have been extended.
Well, the only way that you can make a play of that distance and that full out dive is to get a really clean, quick break on the ball as soon as it leaves the bat, because that was a straight line drive into left field, and if you don't get a jump on the ball, you got no chance. You're just turning and running to the fence.
Here's Drew Stubbs to lead it off, and let's see, with the Reds running out of outs, they've got 9 left if they can get something going. Showing bunt, look out by his dome. In the College World Series tonight, Florida leads Texas 5-3 in the 6th inning. At Omaha, already completed. Vanderbilt beat North Carolina. Tomorrow it'll be California against Virginia and Texas A&M against South Carolina. Of course, the Berkeley Bears are the team that the man on the mound, Brandon Morrow, toiled for. A team that 9 months ago was destined for elimination. The university said they were going to cut the program, and after some alums got together and they said, give us one more chance. Well, you got to get together $9 million in 3 months. They did. The program survived, and they're in Omaha. Off the hands. Nix has it. Stubbs is retired. He's 0 for 3, 2 groundouts and a strikeout. Hey, get ready to save big with the Reds and Reach Magazine Mondays. Purchase a ticket in the Reach Magazine family section in a Kroger meal deal for only $15. Regularly priced at $31. For tickets to the Reach Magazine family section, visit reds.com/family or call 513-381-REDS today.
George, you got to hand it to the Toronto Blue Jays coaching staff. They have really had their players positioned in just about the perfect spot every time a ball has been in a questionable place. That last play with Jason Nix at third base, they had him all the way in on the grass, and had he not been on the grass there on that jam shot, almost a swinging bunt, he would have never gotten Stubbs at first base. Even being a step behind the bag at third, he would not have had a play. But being in on the grass, he made it look easy.
Strike one to Brandon, who singled and grounded out. That's up high. John Farrell has taken over this year. You know Farrell's story. Came out of New Jersey, went to Oklahoma State. Lives in the Cleveland area still. Pitched from the late 80s to the late 90s for Cleveland, California, Detroit, and looked like he was going to be a big winner until arm miseries really sidetracked his career. And left baseball and went back to Oklahoma State, where he coached, among others, Scott Williamson, who won the Rookie of the Year award for the Reds in '99. Then Mark Shapiro got him to come back to the Indians. It's a fly ball to right, edge of the warning track. Bautista will haul it in. And there's your second out. Farrell, and there was a time, you know, when the Reds were first looking for a general manager after Jim Bowden left. He had gone on the fast track, and there were some that recommended he be interviewed for the job. That's how fast he was going up the ladder as a front office operative. But he decided he wanted to go back on the field. He took a job as a pitching coach with Terry Francona in Boston. They sang his praises, and he gets a managerial job in Toronto. He has a very clear vision of what he wants his club to do. He'll communicate with them, and you always had a feeling as a player that this guy could be somebody special, and he's proven he could be a pretty good manager.
Well, he has played the game, been around some great players, and I think understanding that failure is part of the game, and for a lot of guys that were pitchers, being a manager and not having that understanding that 7 out of 10 times you're going to get out, you have to know that, and you have to know it in your gut. His hitting is a frustrating business.
Well, here's Joey still looking for his first hit of the last 2 nights. He hit a bullet through the middle of the infield, but with the overshift and a glancing stop by Morrow, the ground ball got him, and this strikeout gets him. So Joey's 0 for 3 tonight after 0 for 4 last night, and the Reds go 1-2-3 in the 6th. By Cincinnati Children's, which ranks 3rd in the nation on U.S. News and World Report's honor roll for best children's hospitals 2011. By your Cincinnati Northern Kentucky Honda dealers. Visit mycincinnatihondadealer.com for current offers. And by Wendy's, you know when it's real. Now buzzing towards the ballpark by the river. The Blue Jays have been buzzing along for the second straight night. 4 runs, 7 hits, no errors, no runs, 4 hits, 2 errors, and 3 left for Cincinnati. We go to the 7th inning, and Corey Patterson has been a thorn in the side of his former team in this whole series. You see Ramon Hernandez looking down at Joey and out of Roland saying, look out for the bunt. Tonight, Patterson struck out. He successfully sacrificed that started the Toronto rally in the 3rd after a double by Escobar. He sacrificed to move the runner to 3rd, and then Escobar scored when Volquez's throw went way down the right field line. He then doubled in the 5th to start a rally. He scored on Jose Bautista's single. That made it 4-0. So he's contributed again, 2 for 3 tonight. After starting the rally that won the game last night in the 7th inning, being hit by a pitch and then stealing a base. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Joey has it. Arredondo there. Here comes Jose Bautista, and Cowboy, we've been talking about the uniqueness of these 2 great offensive players. Let's match them up.
Well, I think the big thing that you watch is the hips as they recoil when Bautista comes to the plate. The front foot comes up off the ground here, and watch the hips turn. It's almost as though he gets that back side of his, or the front side of his bottom, this right here, getting those hips right in there as he lets the ball, as the ball gets there and he lets that bat fly through the strike zone. It is amazing to me that a hitter can change as much as Bautista has. He's almost, I guess, George, he's almost a prototypical old-time back legger. Just that big slugger that lets everything get on the back leg, and then when the ball gets into hitting zone, everything flies.
And there's another bullet. This one into left. Batista's 2 for 4 and a 1-out base hit in the 7th. And you say an old-time player. I mean, let's remember who's really helped turn him around. Cito Gaston, Gene Tennis, and Dwayne Murphy is hitting coach now. 3 guys are from that old-time school.
And it's not as though he's looking to drive the ball the other way. Look how closed he is on that front side. And as he comes through, look at the extension that he gets with the bat. It comes all the way around and slaps him in the back. You can't fake that kind of extension. I mean, that bat hits him in the back because of the bat speed he has coming through.
The other thing it's startling is you see him hit and watch him when you're up close. He has great core strength in the middle of his body to do that, make that move in a controlled fashion, not just to flail at it and lose the inside part of the plate. He's strong.
Well, that is what gives him the increased bat speed, and that's what allows him to hit the ball the distance and to hit the ball as hard as he does. The ball that we saw last night hit the line drive off the fencing of the bullpen for the Reds and just off of the center field mark. That ball was an absolute rocket. And it was a pitch that was not even in the strike zone. It was up and out of the strike zone, and he was still able to make contact and catch that ball on a good part of the bat and still hit it with some superior authority.
Adam Lynn 1 for 3, 2 balls and 1 strike to him. Way out in front, swing and a miss, and it's 2-2.
You can almost see Lynn in the same type of motion. He doesn't pick his foot up off the ground, but he does close that front hip. That's his first move. His first move is to turn that hip in towards home plate and cock his shoulders back as the pitch is coming plateward. You do that on just about every baseball move that you make. And on the mound, you turn, you get coiled up before you release the ball to come plateward. The same thing in the infield. When you catch a ground ball, you turn, lock your shoulders, and fire the ball to first base. Same thing in the outfield when you catch a ground ball.
The next question is, you look at the leg step, the high step that he has. Some will say that's a timing mechanism that can get you into trouble. And what Murphy's told him, what Dwayne Murphy's told him, is that, and Brooke Jacoby believes in the same thing too. It's not how much of a leg kick, but it's getting your foot down early enough.
Right.
As a pitcher, how do you attack that?
I think the biggest thing for me, and it goes back to facing a guy like Gary Sheffield, because they seem to be very close as far as putting the ball out there.
There goes the runner. Ball's in the dirt. He's going to take a turn, and it'll go all the way to third as the ball was kicked into the dugout in any event. They'll have to return to first. Off the mound, you only get one base. If it was off the field, he would get two. He'd be at third. But off the mound, the ball went directly into the dugout, so he gets only second, even though he was running on the play.
Well, that looked like a fastball there that Arredondo just got way over the top off, falling off to the first base side and overthrowing that pitch. But those are two hitters. The guy standing at second base and Bautista, Lind at first base. They really carry this Toronto club offensively. When runs are being scored, they're usually in the thick of it.
So one out, first and second, and here's Aaron Hill, 0 for 3. Six to 4. Yes, sirree, 3. Well, a double play gets the Reds out of trouble. Can they come up with some offense? Jay Bruce leads it off. He's 2 for 2. Baseball's greatest catcher exhibit, presented by Dinsmore and Scholl at the Reds Hall of Fame. This tribute offers never-before-seen artifacts from Bench's personal collection, as well as video and audio highlights. For more information, visit redsmuseum.org. If you haven't had a chance to go see it, there's some just great Johnny Bench stuff. The greatest catcher of all time, a leader, and a guy who still leads in the game of baseball by the way he conducts himself. On his way to Cooperstown next month to bring in Bert Blyleven and Roberto Alomar as they're inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Here's Jay. Broke out of his mini funk with 2 hits today. Single to center, single to right. Let's see if he can get things started. Brandon Morrow just keeps dealing. First pitch strikes. getting ahead of the hitters, and the Reds have fed right into his program.
Jay is being awfully particular here about the pitches that he's looking at. I think that's the way you have to approach Morrow here at the end of the ball game. You got to make him get the ball where you want it. Because I think if you can put some pressure on Morrow right now, you're going to get that bullpen immediately.
This is a mini shift by the Blue Jays now on a 3-1 count. They did not shift until that pitch.
He has thrown so many pitches to both Votto and to Bruce that are up and off the plate, and they must look like they are right there because Jay and Joey are both swinging right through them.
Full count. That slap foul and out of play.
It's one thing to go after a fastball down and away and drive it the other way. When you're trying to go for that ball up and away with that tailing action off, it's very difficult to judge where that pitch is. And more times than not, you end up with a pop-up or a swing and miss.
And you're not talking about an 89-mile-an-hour fastball here tonight. This 96. Is real gas. It's another strikeout. Bruce is retired. Leadoff hitter down here in the 7th.
Heck of a breaking ball here. Starts in the heart of the plate and just drops straight down. And for the most part tonight, George, I haven't seen anything that Brandon Morrow has done that would be out of the ordinary other than just make pitches. I mean, he's throwing strikes. He's getting the ball over the plate. And when you do that with that kind of arm and that kind of stuff, normally you're going to have some success. I mean, he didn't strike out 17 Tampa Bay Devil Rays for nothing. He's got the ability. It's just a matter of when he's going to put it together.
He's making some strides here tonight. Roland bangs this one through the middle of the infield for a base hit. 1 for 3, his first hit. And the Reds pick up their 5th hit of the night.
George, we have talked so many times when describing our pitchers and when describing the success of pitchers in general. It's normally about first pitch strikes as we watch this fastball down and away that Roland goes right to get and hits it right back up the box. He was robbed there earlier. This time he gets it through the middle without anybody making a play. But as it stands right now, Brandon Morrow has thrown 20 of 23 first pitch strikes. I tell you, George, that is difficult to do, and that's why he is in shutout mode right now.
And that's certainly a formula for success for anybody on the mound. Here's Heisey that got him on the elbow. Second time in a week that Chris Heisey's been plunked on that left elbow. Well, hit by a pitch, and now the Reds trying to get something rolling. Here's an Exmo look at another drill job on Heisey's elbow.
This one looks like it got him on the right elbow in the back, and it does. It catches the wrist and the elbow and the rib cage. Got him in all 3 spots. He'll be bruised up nice and good.
1 out, 2 on. Ramon Hernandez due up. Ramon struck out, bounced out 0 for 2. That slapped the other way. Strike 1.
Well, Ramon is dead set on trying to shoot the ball up the middle and into that right center field gap. And you almost have to be that type of approach with the fastball and the breaking ball that Morrow has. If you don't, you'll never be able to stay on the slider that he has that we saw earlier when he struck out Bruce.
As a right-hander. Hernandez, along with Renteria, 2 of the best that the Reds have in terms of taking advantage of a hole on the right side. Great hit and run operatives. That breaking ball just misses. It's 1-1. Average speed at second and rolling. Good speed at first and Heisey. Reds trying to get on the board. They're scoreless here tonight. 5 hits, no runs. Trying to go the other way. Sliced foul again and into the seats.
And you have to know that the Reds are going to make a charge sooner or later with some type of big hit, whether it be from Hernandez or Giannis or a pinch hitter for that matter. But this is an awfully grand opportunity here to get back in this game. As Dusty says, we're still in slam reach.
Only the second time tonight Reds have had a runner at second, so they'll get the sign straight. Did he go? And Iasonia saying he did not go around, so another life for Rolone.
And this is a whole different pitching concept now for Brandon Morrow. He knows that this ball game is in the balance right now, and he's being tested where his control is concerned, and this is where he's had the difficulty throwing strikes.
This will be his 94th pitch of the night. Misses end up high too. He's had a high of 107 pitches. He has not gone more than 6. And he went 1 7-inning stint in a no decision against the White Sox. This one blew down the right field line, but it'll be into the seats.
And that was ball 4. Molina behind home plate, trying to keep his pitcher Morrow in the ball game. Trying to stay away from Ramon Hernandez here.
He got him. Just reared back and went after him at 95, and Morrow gets his probably biggest strikeout of the night with Jason Frazier, the veteran right-hander, working in the bullpen behind him.
And you notice where Molina sets up there. He doesn't set up outside. He doesn't set up inside. He sets up middle away so that his mitt covers the whole plate. Morrow has got a good fastball, and in that situation, all you're trying to do is get your pitcher to get the ball over the plate, and he does a good job there. Made the pitch. And he's still throwing the ball awfully hard. The last pitch was 95 miles an hour.
Well, here comes Freddie Lewis, who was last April after being in San Francisco for 5 years. In fact, he broke into the major leagues under Dusty Baker. He led the team in stolen bases a year ago with 17. He had a big pinch hit last night to give the Reds life in the 9th inning, and now he'll face Morrow. So 2 away and 2 on. Breaking ball, drops in there for a strike.
And don't think that Morrow is a type that would crumble in this situation. He was the closer on this ball club to begin the season, so he's used to pitching in this type of situation.
Takes a little off and misses wide, 1-1. Twice in his career they've named him a closer. And both times he went back to starting. You could see why you'd think he'd be a closer kind of stuff guy, but when he's right, he can be even more valuable from the rotation every 5th day.
17 strikeouts in a big league ball game, I would say so.
1 ball, 1 strike. Molina rolls through his signs. Lewis will ask for time. Edgar Renteria in the on-deck circle with the pitcher spot due up next.
And for Morrow, there's not a whole lot of body movement or excessive turning and throwing. Everything is really made simple. That's one of the reasons he can pitch this deep and still have something left. Even though you were saying earlier he hasn't really been past the 7th inning, he's pitched into the 7th. But a lot of that has to do with pitch counts and throwing a lot of pitches and balls out of the strike zone early in the game. He's been on the money tonight.
2 balls, 1 strike. Down low, good eye by Lewis. Last night, Cowboy, I think one of the best at bats the Reds had came from Freddie Lewis in that pinch hit 9th inning appearance.
Exactly right. He got a fastball middle in, and he cut it right over the shortstop's head into left center field.
Trying to keep the Reds alive for Renteria here. 3-1. Good eye, good at bat. Second straight night, Freddie Lewis has come up with an important at bat. Let's see if the Reds can convert. Let's see what Johnny Farrell will do. He's already made the sign to the bullpen, so Frazier will come in, and that'll be it for Morrow. Second straight night, good start for the Blue Jays.
First walk of the night comes on the last batter he faces. He hit a batter in Heisey, and he walks a batter in Lewis, and now the Reds are within slam reach, and they got some chirping going.
You know what that means? Time for our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. Broke off for Boys in the Hall and the personal stories of some of baseball's greatest legends. This is a special one. It's Buck O'Neill. That's Boys in the Hall tomorrow, presented by Subway, where winners eat. Well, the Reds have the bases loaded. Their best offensive opportunity of the night, a night where they are scoreless. They trail at 4-0. And here comes one of the more solid relievers in the American League. He's been a Blue Jay his whole career, Jason Frazier.
And he's about the best that the Blue Jays have to offer in this kind of situation. This will be his 31st appearance on the year. 28 in the 3rd innings pitch. He's only allowed 23 hits. Struck out 24 in those 28 innings. And opponents only hitting .213 against him.
Now, they may be the guy that National League fans and Reds fans have never heard of, but he's known in the American League, very solid. He's been around for 8 years. Currently 3rd on the all-time club list in appearances. 441. That's 5 games shy of Tommy Henke for 2nd on the list. Just an everyday kind of player who's very professional about the way he goes about his work. Doesn't blow you away with stuff around the strike zone. Got good movement. Feels his position well. And he'll face Edgar Renteria. 2 away. Renteria trying to get the Reds a run. Edgar 8 grand slams in a career. He'll take a single and 2 runs right here. Frazier to the stretch. Right field hit pretty good, but it's going to be within the striking distance of Jose Bautista. Good swing by Edgar. Nothing to show for it. The Reds strand 3. They've stranded 6. hard blast. This cold hard blast comes off Jose Molina's bat. A 437-foot shot. His second career home run in 6 at-bats against Edinson Volquez. That home run to lead off the 4th inning gave the Blue Jays a 2-0 lead. They now lead it 4-0. Molina will lead it off here in the 8th. Renteria will stay in the game. Edgar will play short. So it's Roland, Renteria, Phillips, Votto across the infield. And coming in to pitch is Carlos Fisher.
And Fisher has had some ball games where he's thrown the ball very well, especially that extra inning ball game. But overall, his time of work has been a little less than optimal. When you have more walks than you have strikeouts and you have more hits than innings pitched, that normally means you're going to have a whole lot of base runners, and for Carlos Fisher that has been the case. 25 base runners in only 14 innings of work.
He's had 2 take it for the team appearances, including that 19-inning game. And in both cases he was charged with a loss. John Roush loosening in the bullpen for the Toronto Blue Jays. Productive night for Molina. Gets a start tonight, 2 for 2, including that big home run. Molina, the speedy Rajai Davis behind him, the center fielder, and then Jason Nix.
Arredondo threw the ball quite well. A couple of innings of no-run baseball, only 1 hit.
High hopper. Roland takes care of it, and there's 1 away in the 8th. After every Reds game, stay with Fox Sports Ohio for Reds Live. You'll hear from Dusty before anybody else tonight. Don't forget, we'll have the longer version of our interview with Joey Votto and Jose Bautista. Reds Live postgame brought to you by Kings Honda and the Kings Auto Mall. Visit KingsHondaUSA.com. This weekend up in Cooperstown, it's Father's Day, of course, and tomorrow I hope you're with us because we'll have some Father's Day greetings. And in Cooperstown, there's a Father's Day golf tournament and a baseball game. Dick Williams is going to manage both teams. Goose Gossage is there, a whole bunch of Hall of Famers, and Joey's youth coach is up there, youth baseball coach Bob Smythe. Joey called the Hall of Fame, got him a reservation to play golf up there, and he's there for the weekend. He said he meant so much to me and the development as a baseball player and as a young man, and he's up there enjoying Hall of Fame Father's Day weekend at the expense of number 19. That's Joey. He didn't want anybody to know about it. He did it very quietly, and special guy down at first for the Reds. Davis bounces out, and here's Nix. Jason was intentionally walked, hit that line drive into the left field corner that Heisey made a diving stop of. It resulted in a sacrifice fly that plated Davis after Davis's triple. And then he faced Arredondo in the 6th and struck out. And probably, you're right, Cowboy, those 2 good innings from Arredondo is a good sign. In both innings, he got the leadoff hit.
Just every time when he goes out, it's just a progression of work to try to get better and better and more familiar with his mechanics in the strike zone. And coming off of Tommy John surgery, everybody says, well, it's the next year. Well, you'd like to hope for Arredondo that it can be this year.
Popped up to short. And that's a dandy inning from Carlos Fisher. 3 quick outs. Bottom of 8, top of the order. Reds look for some runs. defense play of the game. He's got 8 gold gloves to show for it. This was outstanding. He held a runner at third and got the speedy Rajai Davis by the slimmest of margins at first. That saved a run and maybe more thanks to Scott Rowland, our Home Depot, doing more on defense play of the night.
Well, when you see that in live motion, especially that zip throw across the infield as Davis was coming down. Bang, bang. John Roush on the mound. John McDonald over at third base. We saw McDonald come in last night as a defensive replacement. John Roush, folks, is 6 foot 10 inches tall.
And he's a big body.
He is a big old boy. 6 years in the big leagues.
Reds most recently saw him in Washington. That's a one-hopper right at the third baseman McDonald. Johnny Mack has it. And Drew Stubbs is retired. Stubbs is 0 for 4. 3 ground balls and a strikeout. McDonald, wherever you put him, gives you outstanding defense. He gives you gold glove caliber at third, short, or second.
How about the fact that as soon as he comes in the ball game, the ball finds him immediately.
There's some guys you hope that doesn't happen. With him, you hope it does if he's on your team. Like Juan Castro. Remember we had him?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how many times did he come into a ball game and he'd make a spectacular play?
Flat picket.
Oh, Manos de Oro.
Flat picket.
Reds running short on outs. Only 5 left here in the 8th inning. Here's Brandon. 1 for 3. Reds started off in the first after Stubbs hit a ball hard and was thrown out. With 1 away, Brandon singled to left. And then on a 3-2 count to Joey Votto, he ran and Votto struck out. Phillips was thrown out. Strike him out, throw him out, double play, ended the Reds rally.
Well, you can see the angle of that last pitch coming to home plate from John Roush. Phillips swings at it and it looked as though it came in about maybe 6 inches off the ground. But when you're throwing from 6 foot 10, maybe not.
Nice play. Nice play by the shortstop Escobar, and there's 2 away. And, you know, you talk often, you hear hitting coaches talking about squaring up the ball. At the angle that Roush throws it at, down, it's tough to get a bat that's going flat to actually square it up.
And that gives him a tremendous advantage on creating downward angles coming to home plate. But you also have to have great mechanics and really use the mound to your advantage to get that ball going downhill and create that almost treetop angle coming to home plate. You still got to get it in the strike zone.
Another one of those guys that you would say, boy, he's got closer stuff. And he has served as a closer from time to time, either here or in Washington. Here's Joey. Votto, 2 infrequent nights for him. No hits last night, no hits tonight, not on base either.
Roush still does not throw the ball with the same velocity that he did earlier in his career. Now he's right around that 90-mile-an-hour mark, but he throws strikes. And he keeps the ball down in the strike zone. And by doing that, he really uses that height and then the extra height of the mound to his advantage.
In the air to left. Patterson will cruise over. He's got it, and Votto's retired. 1, 2, 3, go the Reds. To the 9th we go. John Morrell hot dog play of the game. Saw it a couple of times, looked sweeter each time. Chris Heisey, a diving stop of a potential extra base hit, wound up being a sacrifice fly from Jason Nix, but he prevented extra bases on the diving effort for Heisey and left.
We saw Johnny Gomes do that on the road trip in Los Angeles, make a phenomenal diving catch. The toughest part about a right or a left fielder that is right-handed going towards that line in left field and the dive is that you have to catch it backhanded in order to make that play. There are so many things that could go wrong. It is a much harder catch than even what it looked like there.
Very often you make a diving effort like that, it's not your left hand or left arm that gets damaged. It's your right hand or right shoulder, like Freddie Sanchez making that effort in San Francisco diving for the ground ball. That's the part of your body that takes the punishment. And Sanchez dislocated his shoulder.
Stabs into the ground, and then you end up blowing out the right shoulder, or the glove from your left hand rolls up underneath you and the ball comes out.
Heisey gloves that pop up off the bat of John McDonald. So there's one away here in the ninth. Looking at the bottom of 9 for the Reds. Bruce, Rowland, and Heisey due up. Joel was just going through his stats in his book, and I mean, we haven't seen it in a long time, Cowboy, with that fly ball out by Joey Votto. This is the first time since the 31st of August 2009 that Joey Votto failed to get on base in back-to-back ball games. That's by a hit or a walk so far. Unless the Reds can rally.
Maybe we should put that crazy looking hair back on. Rally hair. Of course, if we did that, we'd be wearing it every night.
If it wins,
yeah,
keep doing it. Right field in the air. Bruce has it measured. What was your greatest superstition?
I don't know that I had any real superstitions that I ever thought about. The thing that I learned even at a young age was the value of repetition in this game of baseball. So I didn't really call it superstition. I just tried to do the same thing the same way every day so that everything felt comfortable and I didn't get out of my comfort zone, and it allowed me to relax when I got to the mound in tough situations.
That meant coming to the ballpark the same way, eating the same meal, stuff like that?
Well, not really eating the same meal, but just arriving at the ballpark early, get all your work done way early in the day so that you can get your mind on the ball game and what's at hand, and have plenty of time to go through the scouting reports and talk to other guys on your team if they needed you in a certain situation, or if they had questions about how to face a certain guy or that. I mean, that came later on in my career, obviously. But just getting to the ballpark and getting into the baseball mode and really transitioning from family mode to work mode as soon as possible.
No balls, 2 strikes to Patterson.
And never stepping on the line.
That was a. How about coming out of the bullpen?
Just came out and walked to the mound.
No routine.
No routine.
Patterson pops it up. Well, the Reds have 21 comeback victories. Let's see if they can measure that routine and find some magic here as we go to the bottom of 9. Reds trail by 4. And this was speed personified. Banged off the fence on one hop. Rajai Davis speeds around second, turns on the jets, and he rolls into third with a 3-base hit. Our Nissan drive of the game. The Reds saw Drew Stubbs tour the bases with an inside the park homer. Davis has that same kind of speed for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Looked like he was going about 30 miles an hour there. Can a human run 30 miles an hour, you think? He was flying.
I wouldn't be surprised. Sure.
I think Davis can run 30.
Now Roush staying in there for the ninth. He had a 1-2-3-8 inning. Here's Jay.
By the way, before we forget this, we were definitely happy to have Penn Station take care of us today before the ball game in our pregame meal. Otherwise, I would be awfully unhappy right now. Well, my stomach would be, and that would make me unhappy. So
stomach is important.
Very happy with Penn Station right now with that double meet.
Bruce to center field. Davis has it. Jays 2 for 4. Roush, not 32 years of age, born in Louisville, lives out in Arizona right now. This big burly guy was, the first time I really got to see him was in 2000 when he was with the Olympic Committee and USA Baseball. He was part of our USA Baseball team that wound up going to the World Championships and then to the Olympics and winning the gold medal in 2000. He was brilliant. Was an integral part of the Washington bullpen in Arizona and last year in Minnesota. Here's Scott rolling 1 for 3. What is it about interleague for the Reds this year? 0 for 3 against the Indians and 0 for 1 and trailing here in the 9th inning against Toronto.
And it's not as though they've pitched bad last night or tonight. It seems the pitching has been there.
Tagged by Rowland past Escobar for a base hit, so Scott has his second hit. You see it, you talk a lot about adjustments, and you watch Scott Rowland after what he's seen from the pitcher. I mean, he's down by 4. He's trying to stroke it through the middle. He's going right back through the middle. Adjustments.
Well, he was 0 for his first 2, and now he's 2 for his last 2. And I think what Rowland basically did was shorten up the swing, forget about trying to do what you normally do, and go into emergency mode, and that's hit the ball back up the box. And for the Reds right now, a home run does them no good. They are down by 4.
That's a strike to Heisey. Chris flied to right, bounced to second, and was hit by a pitch.
The Reds need to get a few hits in back-to-back fashion, which they have not done in any inning. Seems like they've had runners on in the first, second, third, fourth. Perfect innings in the 5th and the 6th. They had the bases loaded in the 7th, but only 1 hit in that inning.
A bunt, it's a good one. Put it in your pocket. And the Reds will put the tying run into the on-deck circle now with 2 on and 1 out in the 9th inning. And that'll get Francisco up in the bullpen for the Blue Jays.
This is the part of Chris Heisey's game that makes him so valuable. On a night where he does not have a base hit, and he can put that bunt down with the best of them. He puts it right on the grass, and John McDonald playing back. McDonald didn't even leave his position. He was afraid Rowland was going to come to third. He made Roush go to get the baseball. Reds need to just keep the rally going, just one at a time.
7th hit for the Reds tonight. Here's Ramon, who's 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts and a ground out. That's up high for ball 1. Johnny Gomes in the on-deck circle.
And where this helps the Reds in the event that Francisco does come into the ball game, George, We know how prone Francisco has been to throwing the ball out of the strike zone. So if the Reds can put a rally together and at least approach the 4-run mark that the Blue Jays have, they can put a whole lot of pressure on that Toronto bullpen.
Hernandez in his career 2 for 5 and a home run against Roush.
At this point, I think as a hitter, you've got to be thinking up the middle, single the other way. You hit a ground ball that you roll over on, the ball game's over.
Hop back, but it'll be out of play. 31,000 plus, 31,688 here at Great American Ballpark tonight for Game 2 of the series. Hope you join us tomorrow for Father's Day, day game, afternoon encounter here. Then the Yankees come to town on Monday as interleague play continues. Yes, missing wide, and it's 2-2. Molina will go out to talk to Roush.
I think sometimes when you have younger players playing in these types of ball games, George, that the younger player tends to have the attitude that I'm going to show you my greatest talent because I'm playing someone that I don't normally play. When in reality, it should just be an everyday ball game, just another game in the 162-game schedule. And I think you put too much pressure on yourself trying to do too much. And that appears what has happened last night and up until this point, what has happened to the Reds offensively tonight.
A little rustling in the crowd now. It goes 3-2. Rolling off second, Heisey off first, 3-2 to Ramon. Roush to the stretch. That's it pretty good to left. Going back, looking up, reaching up. Patterson has it. The runners had gone halfway. They'll have to return to their bases.
Oh, for the speed of Corey Patterson. Not too many left fielders in this game catch that ball, George.
You're right.
That ball's hit on a line over the head of Corey Patterson. A direct turnaround and run for Patterson. You can see him in full speed mode. But a guy that's normally a center fielder, you said it earlier, George, they got a whole lot of speed on that center field and left field side.
You hit the nail on the head. I mean, that ball went over his head. If it's not the speedy Patterson or somebody like Davis, that's on the warning track, and 1 run scores, maybe 2. So it's still first and second. Now there's 2 away, and here comes Johnny to pinch hit. Reds down to their final out. Great to have you with us at Great American. George Grant, Jeff Brantley, Jeff Pecoro, Jim Day standing by for post-game. Matt Sigafus in charge of pre-game activities tonight. Brian Hunterman, our producer. Roy Alfers, our director. Kevin Pennewitt down zipping highlights for you. Lauren White with our graphics coordination tonight. Joel Luckup and Big Papa Jesse Jackson up here in the booth with us tonight. Last night the Reds lost, but so did the Brewers and Cardinals, so everything stayed the same. Different story tonight. Cardinals and the Brewers have both won, so the pressure's on here in the 9th. Here's Johnny, and you know what he's looking for. The numbers for Gomes. He had a horrible stretch in the month of May and was really taken out of the mix for the better part of a week plus. Dusty Baker and Kirk Jacoby trying to rework his swing a bit, his approach, and a checkup from the neck up too. Just give him a break from it, and he's come back more invigorated. you look at the numbers for the month of June, appreciably better for Johnny Gomes.
Well, he's
323, 10 for 31 in June.
He's in at about a 400 clip here in his last 14 ball games. I think he's got 8 RBIs in those games.
One ball, 2 strikes to Gomes, pinch hitting in the 9th. Edgar Renteria on deck for Cincinnati, hoping to get a crack at it. That breaking ball hung up. Gomes fouls it down the right field line.
And really, George, right now for Johnny Gomes, who is hanging around that 200 mark, and the same thing for Edgar Renteria, is what have you done for me lately? And I think both of those guys, as veteran players, they know that. And when you struggle on offense, there are a couple where you start.
1 and 2. Yes, missing wide. Roush hasn't missed by much on a couple of pitches to the last 2 batters. 2-2. Reds looking for a big hit, something they haven't had the last 2 nights. That's a call, strike 3, and that'll do it. Johnny Gomes takes a call, strike 3. John Roush will close the door in the 9th inning, and the Reds will strand 2, leaving 8 on base tonight. And the Toronto Blue Jays have taken the first 2 from Cincinnati. Tonight, 4 runs, 8 hits, no errors, 7 left. For the Reds, no runs, 7 hits, 2 errors, 8 left on base. Brandon Morrow, the second straight outstanding start for John Farrell. And Edinson Volquez will take the loss tonight.
Well, even though the night